Alright, what's up, kids? Blacky Black Metal here, representing black metal for YouTube. And my dog needs to go take a piss, but it's raining, and I got on corpse paint and shit. Probably not a good idea to go outside looking like this, get my dog to piss. So let me take a quick 10-15 minutes to, I guess, talk about something other than black metal. I was going to talk about black metal, but I'd rather talk about Metallica. Metallica is really one of the most influential American metal bands that there ever was, if you think about it. They brought a whole lot of the European sound over here. Like, I was looking at a documentary, Lars was talking about Angel Witch and Venom and, that kind of speed metal stuff that they, the way they sounded with the first album, Kill 'Em All. And even further with research, I was going to start talking about Mustaine instead of Metallica, just because Dave Mustaine really is one of those really, really kind of, I guess, underrated writers. And I guess maybe we'll say writers and performers, really, because look at what Megadeth became. You get kicked out of Metallica for being a fucking drunk, and you turn around and start a band that's just as good and arguably better in some ways. I know. A lot of people don't agree with me there. Metallica's established, 30 plus years now they've been around? They got like a couple Grammys or something, and then they get a category made or something and Jethro Tull ended up getting it that year. But the metal category got made because of Metallica. Gotta give them that. But anyway, a lot of these youngsters don't know. All the good stuff is old. All these guys out now, younger, are trying to do shit that has already been done. They're trying to mimic people who were, just a little bit more talented than they were. But I mean, there's some good artists here. I don't want to talk shit about new kids and stuff. It's kind of immature. I kind of outgrew that whole music Nazi thing of, not liking it because it's not brutal enough. It's not brutal. It's fucking trash. Destroy it. I had to stop thinking like that. Just because there's a lot of talented people who are in bands that aren't necessarily the most brutal ever or whatever, but I mean they're good musicians. You gotta give them that much. But anyway, as I was saying, you owe everything to Metallica if you're an American. Point blank, they took the whole Euro metal thing and brought it over here and put our signature on it, more or less. Like, had it not been for basically Metallica and Megadeth, we really wouldn't have good metal. I don't think so. Like, I mean, look at we credit Sabbath and Zeppelin with being the two first metal bands ever, but look at what they became, really. They didn't really. Well, Sabbath kind of did, but Zeppelin definitely not. Zeppelin is definitely not a metal band by the end of the run, but Sabbath still kind of is, if you think about it. But anyway, everybody says Sabbath or Zeppelin, but really, I think Priest had a really good place in there as far as cementing metal and being one of the godfathers of metal. Not black metal, but metal altogether. Well, anyway, as I was saying, Metallica listened to all those bands and basically brought the Euro sound to us. And they were the first American band to do the whole Iron Maiden thing. Well, not Iron Maiden. Yeah, they listened to Iron Maiden too. It'd be fair to say Iron Maiden. But anyway, real crazy story with Metallica. How their bassist in the first lineup, Cliff, ends up getting killed in a bus accident where basically the bus ends up just landing on Cliff. For lack of a better way of saying it, one of the worst ways in the world I'd imagine to die would be to have a fucking bus land on you. But how metal is that, to at least have that, to your credit, you went out in a much unorthodox fashion. How metal is that? That's horrible. I'm sorry. Pretty morbid. It's not very cool. Sorry. R.I.P. to Cliff. One of the greatest bassists that metal has ever seen. I'll say that much. Cliff Burton. But anyway, Cliff ended up dying in a crazy bus accident. They before that they kicked Mustaine out because he's crazy, drunk, volatile to the group or whatever, as the story or the documentary say. But anyway, having to kick one of the greatest writers and musicians of metal out of the band, then to have their bassist die in the bus accident. What happens after that? Well, they get Jason Newsted after that, and it's a great band. They end up doing the where did Newsted come in at? Not the black, but Newsted comes in at Injustice for All, I do believe. I think so. Is it Justice for All? I think so. But anyway, great albums up until really the Black Album, in my opinion. Black Album is where they started to kind of deviate towards the record company get the album sold kind of deal thing going on. So Black Album's a classic album, really good album. Not a speed metal album though. It's the whole thing, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, speed metal albums through and through. All kinds of crazy. You just go back and listen to it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're a little bit younger, go back and listen to Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, and Master of Puppets, and you will see a huge difference in what Metallica sounds like, currently, as opposed to what they used to. But I'll say this much: Death Magnetic, closest thing ever to their old school sound. They really listened to the fans on that one, made an album that was right on up there with their old school sound, brought the speed metal sound back. The Day That Never Comes was one of the most awesome things I ever got to listen to on the radio at work. One of the most metal things, the radio doesn't play, you're not gonna hear death metal, black metal, power metal, any of that kind of shit on the radio. You're gonna hear whatever the record companies want sold. But anyway, Metallica's a great band. Death Magnetic is a great comeback album. Brought the speed metal back, great and all that. But anyway, Megadeth kind of maintained the whole thing the whole time. They stayed metal the whole time. What was that? I can't really bring Metallica in to Megadeth's line of existence, really, because there's Metallica, Mustaine gets kicked out, then Megadeth. So not really. As much as I'd love to talk a little bit about Megadeth, can't really. Just stick to the point of Metallica. But anyway, Metallica went into this period where, all us metalhead purists, I was straight, like I said, music Nazi at that time, where Load came out, everybody hated it, they cut their hair. I have to admit, MTV was still cool then, they were still playing videos. What was that video? Till It Sleeps, awesome video. It wasn't metal, but it was, image-wise, it was a really good video. I mean, who didn't like the Until It Sleeps with the snakes and the little breakdown in there? Yeah, it wasn't metal, but it's Metallica. You gotta forgive them. Yeah, it got so bad. I remember around that time, I got a bunch of stickers out of a bubblegum machine. One of the stickers was a Metallica sticker, and it was pink and holographic mosaic. That's how bad it had gotten. Their logo, not even with the bolts, it was just Metallica with pink mosaic. Well, I ended up giving it to some kid who, was young and, liked metal or whatever, but wasn't really serious about it, just because at that point I was straight up, if it's not brutal, then fuck it. I don't want to fucking listen to it. Metallica, you serious? They cut their fucking hair. They're not metal anymore. Fuck them. I know. It was really bad. I think it was what was I, 15? I think 15, 16. It was real bad. I ended up falling into this whole punk phase where I was trying to learn to skateboard, and I was listening to NoFX and all the stuff that it would appear on the Tony Hawk games or whatever. Those kind of bands, pop punk bands, Rancid, Pennywise, that kind of shit. But anyway, needless to say, Metallica went through that whole, shitty make some money, cut our hair kind of thing. There was a couple good songs in there. What was it? The soundtrack song. I always liked the video for "I Disappear." If you're a metalhead, you can't deny all of it. It started sucking for a little while, but you can't just sit here and say that they totally suck as a band and not acknowledge at least the fact of them being influential to other bands that probably, it'd be fair enough to say they might be a little bit better, but only better because they're younger and a little bit more hungry. Metallica's been through all the ropes and everything, and I have to admit, if I was like 50, 60 something years old and had done all the shit that they've done, I probably wouldn't give a fuck what anybody thought either. I probably would make whatever money the record company wanted me to make, sell whatever they want me to sell, produce whatever record they want me to produce. At that point, you're just, making sure that the grandkids are getting through school and all that kind of shit. Everyday people shit. So, hats off to Hetfield and Ulrich, Newstead, even though he left the band. Wish he would have stayed there. Been still a much better band. The new guy, I mean, it's Metallica. It's kind of one of those things. I don't want to say anything good. I don't want to say anything bad. It's just like Queen with no Freddie Mercury. Is it really Queen? Is it? You're going to go spend some money on tickets to see a Queen with no Freddie Mercury? Probably not. But anyway, Metallica's a great band. I listened to them when I was really young. Got me into the sound for metal or heavier shit. At the time that I discovered Metallica, I was really into Guns N' Roses. That kind of turned more to Motley Crue. Got more into Crue than Roses, and then that turned to Aerosmith for some reason. I went through a whole hard rock kind of phase in the early days. But anyway, Metallica ended up coming in, and it was really scary sounding shit. My mom hated how it sounded, so needless to say, I loved it. And I traded up with a friend for some tapes. I traded him. What did I trade him? Some Aerosmith tape or something for Master Puppets on tape. It was awesome. I lost it in the flood of '99 down here in eastern North Carolina. But anyway, that was my earliest experience with metal. And as you can see, it ended up way over in the black metal area with the Norwegian stuff and the what else? Well, I favor black metal, obviously. Emperor, Cradle of Filth, the transcendent black metal, Cradle of Filth, Dimmu Borgir, that kind of shit. I know even they are pushing it now as far as their title as being black metal or whatnot. And so, look at what ended up happening. That's a lot of what woke me up to different genres of music. You can't just be like, if it's not what you like, fuck it, because there's so many different talented people who do different types of music. And when you say that, you're like totally discrediting the fact that they're talented. So I had to learn to accept everything and just kind of, I mean, who was I? I was lying to myself. I'm sitting here talking all this shit about these other bands I don't like or whatever, but after I get through listening to some black metal or something, I'll put on some Ace of Base, or some ABBA, some shit like that. So I was really contradicting myself anyway. So how am I going to say one thing when it comes to metal, then turn around and listen to Swedish pop? Like, you can't keep contradicting yourself. But anyway, like I was saying, if you're just getting into metal, you can see how powerful it is. It's an awesome genre of music. It's, everybody listen. There's people sitting around talking about they only listen to one kind of music. They're lying. Some people listen to metal and they, you totally would never guess outside of this shit, you saw me on the street, you would probably not guess that, I was a straight up, black metalhead and everything. But anyway, Metallica really got me started with metal. They're an awesome band. You want to check them out, and if you're young, you're not really familiar with them, don't start with the more current stuff. Start with Kill 'Em All, the first album, with the bloody hand and axe on the cover thing. Just remember that. It's be bloody looking cover. Kill 'Em All. A lot of material written by Dave Mustaine of Megadeth. Awesome album. I'm not even going to talk about anything else like Metallica. Just follow the line. I'm sure you know somebody who listens to Metallica and can tell you the sequence. Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. Stop there. Just stop there and move on to some Megadeth. Keep it metal, and don't fall into that. Well, if you like them, if you like Metallica, go ahead and listen to the Black Album and everything that comes after. But like I was saying, I'm gonna totally wax black metal another time and talk about way more brutal bands than a mainstream metal band like Metallica. But anyway, they're an awesome band. Like I said, started at the beginning. It's good stuff. I'm gonna try to do another video another time. Anyway, check me out on Twitter. Shout out to Satanic Reaper on Twitter. Who else? Sexy Jesus, guy with all the crazy jokes and shit on Twitter, is awesome. I love that. That's really metal when you can make people laugh with the most morbid and awful things that anybody could ever say. But anyway, shout out to Sexy Jesus. And who else on these Twitter pages here that I like? Got a lot of metalheads following me. I want to go ahead and at least mention them. I know it's a shitty first video, so I'll make sure that I mention people in that shitty first video that I ever did. Let's see here. Bloody hell. 7 seconds of bad luck. Alright, so that's Satanic Reaper, 7 seconds of bad luck, and Sexy Jesus, all followers on Twitter. Make sure you check me out. Ray Bonner Jr. at all lowercase, no spaces. Ray Bonner Jr. is my alias. Blackie Black Metal, fashion enthusiast, metal guy. Rock.